Muppet Man. I can't believe I fell for Muppet Man. Kirby. Oh, I'm a woman. I'm strong. Hey, Jerry.
Hey, J. Rob.
How are you, sir?
I'm great because it's that time.
It is that time.
Time for Jerry and J. Rob cover it all.
It's good stuff right there.
You gonna post that?
I might. We'll see. You got any?
I got nothing.
You got nothing?
I got nothing.
Gargamel, Smurfs, nothing. There's nothing working over in Jerryland.
Never been good at it.
No?
No.
Hey, animal. What are you doing?
No joke.
Acting natural. All right, let's get on.
Waka waka.
Yeah, waka waka.
The Muppets?
The Muppets.
Don't you act me that.
The Muppets and me. All right. That's right. Maybe if we had the intro, the Muppets intro right there. That'd be pretty cool.
I think you did a fantastic job, sir. You could voice that.
Yeah. All right. One of the greatest shows ever, by the way.
Yeah.
Series anyway. Okay. Well, how you doing?
You know, I'm doing great. I am on day 4 of being on track with my health, and I'm feeling the inflammation getting better in my body, so my joints aren't hurting as badly, and I don't feel run down and bloated, and I'm just on track.
It's amazing how quick that takes place.
Yes, it is. But it all starts with a decision and a commitment.
That's right. That is absolutely correct. So you're doing good.
Doing
Back
well,
on it.
and I'm planning to continue doing well.
Right. Well, we're good.
This
Good for
week.
you. Especially right here in the middle of the holiday season. That makes it difficult.
Yeah. You know, for Thanksgiving, I overdid it, and I was just like, man, I feel so bad. You know, a lot of times the problem is that we don't make change until it hurts too bad to stay where we're at.
That is a show all on its own.
It is. It is a show topic for another time. But how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing all right. Had a little sinus stuff going on this week, but I think we got that under control and been traveling a lot. We've been to Arizona and Arkansas, and now we're back home. Hopefully we'll be home for a little bit and just busy.
So I want to touch on that. So you went to Arkansas to get your pet raccoon
I can't confirm or deny that,
fixed.
sir. I can't talk about that. All I'm saying is it felt like a very poor episode of Smokey and the Bandit. Because we had so many hours to get there and so many hours to get back, and transporting illegal animals across the state line. So
okay.
I can't talk about it. So
All right.
if that's what happened.
You may have to.
In Mexico, somewhere.
I mean, I heard a story one time I didn't know.
Yeah. And then along the way, we pick up a puppy.
Yes, and I understand that your daughter is very grateful to have another dog.
She's mostly grateful. She's a little grateful.
She was pretty excited about it this morning anyway.
Yeah, she's doing all right. She has a hard time showing that gratefulness sometimes, that excitedness. So.
Oh.
But it's not that it's not there. It's just like
It's on the inside.
she's just dead on the inside. That's all. So that's how it goes. Okay, so today we're talking about a couple things, kind of combined.
Kind of a mishmash, a few things together, and hit on a couple of different topics. You know, when you hit on a lot of different topics in preaching, you call that a shotgun sermon.
Yeah.
You just fire it. Yep. You hit a lot of things at once, and
hopefully you got them on rapid fire.
And you go with it. But you know, you had asked me about, what are your thoughts? What are some things that you've been dealing with lately? And one of the things that came to mind that I have in my conversations throughout the week and just things that have come up is a lack of knowledge, but a willingness to live with a lack of knowledge. Ignorance is not always bliss. Sometimes the things that we refuse to acknowledge or the things we refuse to learn about the way things work, about the things that go on in the world around us, can actually be very harmful to us.
So kind of actually combining ignorance with apathy.
Oh, yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Because I think people, well, I think that happens for a couple of reasons, and I'll just say what I say, but I think commonly we are complacent and lazy as human beings, and we get tired of the fight to stay on top of stuff.
Sure.
And then I think also, the things around us, if you want to talk about like politics or you want to talk about certain things and certain agendas, people are tired of that stuff, and they get tired of hearing it, and they get tired of messing with it. And then things happen and they're not paying attention anymore because they're tired of it. And then things go south, or, maybe certain political figures are in office and things don't go so well. And we didn't go vote because we got apathetic towards it, right?
Sure.
Whatever the reason is, it doesn't matter. It's just what occurs.
Yeah, and so that's some of the things that I've been thinking about lately. I had a good conversation the other day with our good friend Dr. Carmack.
Yeah.
Who had said he would love to come and talk to us some more.
Absolutely.
And we would love to have him back on the show, but also just sit down and have some coffee with him,
Sure.
One-on-one and have some conversations. But, when he and I get together, we could talk for hours. We didn't have the time to do that. But that was kind of, the overall theme of our conversation was just, what people don't know and what people aren't willing to learn or to find out, to study for themselves, and just accepting everything that comes along. Just being told, hey, this is the way that it is, and then rather than going, okay, well, let me study, let me search, let me figure out, is this really good for me? Is this really the way that things need to go? Is this what's best for life and for our family and for society? And then making an educated decision, we just take everything and go, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But I like the way you put it, just that that ignorance coupled with apathy.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, so it ends up being kind of a double whammy there. That's far worse than either one by themselves. And I think one of the best examples of this is, and I'll probably ruffle some feathers with this one too, is like the school system, the public school system.
Mm.
We have decided that we send our kids there, you deal with it. You deal with my kids' education, you deal with my kids' whatever. It's your responsibility to do all that stuff. And to a point it is, right? I mean, we pay a significant amount of taxes to employ teachers and ISDs to train up our kids, but really that's our job, right? It's our job to train up our kids.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's their job to maybe teach them some stuff, but we've gotten into this place where we don't care as long as they're being taken care of during that daytime hour period, and they teach whatever they teach. It may not align with your values or align with what you think as a parent, but we're lazy and we're not going to follow up on it most likely.
Sure.
And whatever happens, happens, which is a dangerous place to be in for sure. But I'd also like to, add that this is very important in the business world, in the entrepreneurial world. That first off, you really can't survive being ignorant. You can't survive being apathetic towards things. You have to be forward thinking all the time. And one of my mentors this week made a Facebook post about, if you are staying up awake at night because you're worried about bills or worried about how you're going to pay for stuff or how you're going to do things versus, he was mentioning himself, and this is a problem that I've had. I wake up all hours of the night because I'm excited about something, and because I'm thinking about how we're going to do a new endeavor or how we're going to do something innovative and that has some vision and some excitement to it, that's a totally different mindset, totally different person. And if I was ignorant to what was going on and just tried to shut down, I think that's the place I would be in. I would be up worried about bills because I would just be doing the bare minimum, the complacency type stuff to get by in life, and that's not what I subscribe to whatsoever.
Yeah, and so now that you mentioned that, the world is constantly evolving, and you have to evolve somewhat with the way things go. And if you have the mindset that this is the way that we've always done things, so it's how we're going to continue doing things, I think a lot of times that can hurt you in business. It can hurt you relationally in our relationships and things of that nature.
It's true. That's absolutely true. And you end up, somebody else takes over. That's what ultimately happens. Is when you're not paying attention, somebody else will come in and take it out from underneath you. And that's the stuff you just always got to be looking out for. And that's not always in the business world. That's not always in entrepreneurship, but it's in everything. If you're not paying attention, that carpet will get yanked out from underneath you because there's always a bottom feeder. There's always somebody that wants to come in and take something over, and they'll do it as quietly and sinister-like as possible.
Sure.
And next thing you know, your whole world's upside down.
Right.
Because you gave it too much space.
Well, and I think that a lot of times people in positions of authority and power can even use our ignorance and apathy against us to seize control or to make changes that aren't in our best interest, that ultimately benefit themselves.
Sounds very familiar. This is a daily thing here in the U.S. I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they just do whatever they want, right?
Yeah.
It don't matter what side of the coin you on. The government does whatever it wants.
Right.
I'm sure we'll get dinged on that one too. So, tell me.
Both faces are the same coin.
That's right. That's right. So tell me, you were mentioning a while ago the ignorance of God's people. How would you describe that in today's times?
So, I'm old-fashioned, and I still believe the old ways are the best ways because the old ways are Bible ways. And so there are some things that we are not willing to change and to compromise, but there are a lot of things that come along that we also, if we're not careful, we have an unwillingness to embrace that can actually do more harm than good. So I've mentioned this on the show before, but I think that COVID-19, when that came along and it forced a lot of churches to take a step back and go, hey, we've got to get the message out in a different way and in a broader way. And so
Right.
Even our church, we for many years, if you missed church service, you just missed church service.
Yeah.
And but when COVID-19 came along, we had to step back and go, okay, we've got to still get the message out. We can't meet together. What are we going to do? And so it made us stop and think. Well, we can either continue like we're going, or we can learn something new, embrace something different, and start doing live stream and audio and podcasts and taking that to a different direction. I know a lot of. I have known some preachers in the past who have been unwilling to embrace technology, unwilling to embrace social media,
Right.
and to use those platforms. And I get it. There's a lot that is not aligned with what we believe in those areas.
Right.
But like anything else, they're a tool
That's right.
that can be used just as well for good as they can for evil. And so I think we have to be very careful in not compromising to be worldly, but at the same time learning and gaining knowledge and understanding of how people work.
Right.
And the tools that are available to us to use that weren't available, a long time ago. and embracing those things instead of, like I say, saying, well, this is how we've always done it, and so we're just always going to do it that way.
Right.
There's a fine line on those things, but it's a line that has to be skirted. It has to be explored. We have to advance and grow and be forward thinking. Again, it doesn't mean that we change our morals and what we believe, but choosing to just remain ignorant toward the way society has changed, the way people think nowadays, because people don't think now the way that they did 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago.
Right.
And so we have to understand that so that we can adapt where we can adapt, and then move forward to continue, getting the message out and serving the Lord.
Right. So that was a lot from the church perspective of the church dealing with some things and trying not to be ignorant, but as far as like in general, the quote unquote Christian, what do you think that they are being ignorant to today? And I'm not saying that in a way that's that's negative per se. It's just, what do you think that they don't know, that they don't care to know about these days? That may be something that's going to hurt them.
Well, I think so. One area that is at least my opinion, my observation is that for some reason we think that because we're Christians and we've been told that there's a separation between church and state. I think one area where we get hurt a lot is, by the way, that's not true, but I think a lot of area where we get hurt is by having an unwillingness to embrace our role as citizens and be involved in the legislative process of choosing our representatives and choosing our leadership, and then sitting back and complaining about the leadership that we get.
Right.
I think that hurts us in general as Christian people.
Okay.
Or at least one area.
Okay. All right. Well, I would agree with that. I would agree with the general. I would say, from my perspective, and I don't have anything to back it up, but the culmination of worldly things that are being accepted by Christians because they feel like it's the nice thing to do, the accepting thing to do, or what is going to be better for whatever that third party is or whatever it is. I think I see a lot of that in the standards of what God has said and what the Bible says are being put on a shelf.
Right.
Just my observation as well as what you said.
Yeah, God said, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. And so one thing that we've tried to do is be sure that we are teaching God's principles so that we know what we believe, we know why we believe it, and that we're not just accepting everything that comes down the pipeline.
Right. So it's God's principles, not Jerry's principles?
Absolutely.
And where do you get that from?
Well, we get everything that we believe and teach from the Bible.
Straight from the Bible.
Straight from the Bible.
There you go. Okay. Well, very good. What do you want to add to that?
Well, we're health coaches.
Yep.
You're more involved in it than I am.
True.
But tell us what you think where this might apply in the realm of health.
Health. So we can excuse our own behavior for any reason, and that happens all day long.
Oh, yes.
So in my organization, we've helped in the thousands now with trying to get their health and their weight and stuff in check. And I've heard every excuse, right? And it's always comes down to, I don't want it bad enough, or it's not important enough to me, or my why is not big enough, or I'm not hit that rock bottom like you were talking about a while ago. But people will tolerate things, and they will accept things and accept that somebody told them, well, you only live once, or you need to be happy while you're here. Well, of course you need to be happy, but you know what? You truly don't need a pizza to be happy. And if that's all your happiness depends on, then we need to talk, because
Right.
you've got a lot more purpose than that.
Sure.
So that's what I see is people, for one thing, are ignorant to what really is healthy, what's truly healthy. And it's probably not what you were taught in elementary school and our whole lives in our
Right.
health and science classes. That's an okay start. There's some good things about that, but in general, it's not the best plan. It's not taught in a way that's actually best for your body. So you have that kind of stuff where people will think, well, it's fruit. It's good for me. I can eat all the fruit I want. Well, no, you can't eat all the fruit you want. It's full of sugar still. It still has other
Yeah.
stuff that's not always the best for you. Now, is fruit good? Yeah, it's better than a candy bar, more than likely. But there are, moderations to everything. So I see that people are commonly not as educated as we think we are when it comes to eating correctly. And it's not complicated, but it does take, the effort to actually look at what you're trying to do. And then they are ignorant to their surroundings and ignorant to what is constantly pulling them down. Is it keeping bad food in the house? Is it their family? Is it their circle of friends? Is it circumstances at work? It's all this stuff plays into the decisions we make. And if we're making these poor decisions, we got to change something. But that's uncomfortable. And we don't like to be uncomfortable.
Right.
So it's a constant grind to try to fight through some of that stuff. But typically, the breakthrough comes with an epiphany, a sudden realization of, okay, my eyes are open. I've just awakened my mind. I realize that this XYZ is not good, and I need to move and do something different. That's when that stuff happens. So that's kind of what we try to do, help people to realize, help them to see what they want to be in the future, what they want to get out of life. And if it's important enough to them, they'll make it happen, just as anything.
Right.
If you want it to happen, you can make it happen. I don't care who you are.
Yeah, and I think that speaks, what you're saying is something that we tackle and that we talk about on our show all the time, and that's just not being complacent with the get up, eat junk or don't eat at all, go to work, work all day and come home and sit on the couch and do nothing.
Right.
And that's not life.
Nope.
And you won't be happy doing that. But so many people are willing to do that because they either don't know another way or they're unwilling to embrace another way.
It's a little of both, but there's a lot in the second.
Yeah.
A lot. It's nice just to go home, veg out, and watch TV and melt your mind and do nothing fantastic in life. So that's what we're fighting.
So tell me what you think is a good remedy to that. A good what's the word I'm looking for? Just a way out so that we can get out of an apathetic mindset, an ignorant mindset, a willingness to be complacent.
Well, this might seem unusual, but
and move forward.
But one of the best things that I have found that people can do is do something for others. I have found that a lot of things in life are exponentially better when you help somebody, when you promote somebody, when you fill a need for somebody, when you go work a lunch line for a Thanksgiving meal, maybe at a homeless shelter, anything that brings value to a third party person that may not have those things that they need. It does a couple of things. It produces something in your brain that gives you a overall well-being feeling, and it puts you in a place of gratitude. And when we approach things from a place of gratitude, it completely changes everything. It changes the attitude. It changes how we do life. It changes what we're thankful for and what we feel is important and how we start spending our time. So I would say do something for others. And the next thing is get into action. Change up your routine. Even if you got to be radical. If you got to go and throw everything in your house out because it's unhealthy for you, then do it and start getting busy.
Yeah, I think I would add to that, be willing to have an open mind, have an open heart to accept something new, to try something new, to step out into the uncomfortable. I've noticed about myself, I find myself sometimes surrounding myself with the things that don't challenge me. They're things that I already agree with, things that are comfortable, right? Things that don't challenge me, and so I don't have to think.
Right.
And but when we're met with new ideas, new experiences, and things of that, like it triggers our mind. We have to think about those. Now, whether we have to come to a conclusion whether we agree with those things or not. We have to be able to debate those things. We have to, but a lot of times we miss out on something worthwhile just because we weren't willing to think in another direction or to experience something new. Maybe take a chance, a little risk.
All about risk.
To overcome that apathy, overcome the ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, when I say ignorance, I don't mean stupidity.
No, it's not a condescending word. I think people use it that way, but it's just
right. Well, that's why I throw it out there.
Right.
That, because I don't want. Jerry's telling us we're stupid. No, Jerry didn't say anything of the sort.
No.
But we don't know what we don't know.
It's true.
And the only way we're gonna to learn is to be willing to try something new.
That's absolutely correct. Well, very good, sir. That was a good topic there. We got some stuff coming up in the near future. I think we got some future guests that are coming in as well. But we'd still like to hear from you guys. If you've got a story, we want to hear it. Just send us an email at jerryandjrobcoveritall@gmail.com, and we would love to listen to what you got to say.
Answer questions. Topic. Maybe there's a certain topic that you would like us to cover. Remember, this is Jerry and J. Rob Cover It All.
With
and
special
so maybe there's something that's been bugging you. Maybe you want to pick our brains about it, and we'd be happy to do that.
Yep. Maybe you don't agree with us.
Yeah. I mean, tell us that too.
We're open to it. Okay. Well, you guys have a great week. Thanks again for checking in with us. We appreciate it.
Have a good one.